Hey there, baseball fans. Nathan Rohde, Shooter Hunt, and Chris Fuller here with State to the Nation for PBR Kentucky. Chris, thanks so much for joining us today. Let's get right into some draft talk for 2021. And one of the biggest stories this summer was Dalen Lyle from Kentucky, establishing himself on the national circuit as one of, if not the best hitters in the country.
Yeah, as you guys saw this summer, and he was doing it against some of the top arms in the country. I made the statement that I've been doing this for 8 years and 8+ years in Kentucky, being the scouting director, and he's as advanced a high school hitter as I've seen in my 8+ years, just in his approach, and rarely takes a bat at bat, rarely gets himself out, and guys will try to pitch him inside with 90+ mile-an-hour fastballs, and the hands are quick enough to turn on it. He'll drive a pitch to left center. So yeah, he's. I'd been telling Shooter about him for a while, that I thought this kid was going to make the next jump, and he certainly has.
Yeah, and you weren't alone. He was probably the first 21 that I was told about as he was rising into high school. But his ability to slow the game down and that natural progression throughout the 4 years, he made those jumps. I think he's one of those sleeper picks come day one of the MLB draft with a good spring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly. So sticking with that 2021 class, let's look at someone that's still uncommitted on the board for colleges to look at. And Chris, it sounds like you have a pretty talented guy and a switch hitting outfielder in Ben Higdon.
Yeah, for sure. I know he's had some offers. He's still out there uncommitted. Switch hitting, corner outfielder. He doesn't run quite well enough to be a center fielder, though he does. He plays center field some for his high school team, but he's probably a right fielder at the next level. He's got some juice, especially from the right side. He came to our event back at the end of June, and we were in a pretty big minor league ballpark, the Bowling Green Hot Rods. Hit multiple balls out during BP from the right side. If you look at the blast metrics, they're elite for a high school hitter. Definitely an interesting guy who I think is going to hit for some power at the next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're elite for anybody right now. Switch hitter, I love the way he turns the barrel. There's definitely power there. Moves well. It's athletic in the outfield. Even though he's a 7-1 runner, probably not a center fielder, but he's going to do more than fine in the corner, especially when that power comes along. But good uncommitted guy. Check out the video. Get to those games this spring.
Indeed.
Sure.
So moving on to 2022, Bennett Myers. We like spin rates, especially on coffee and curveballs, and it sounds like Bennett Myers fits in that category.
Yeah, it really stood out the future games, and he was a kid that kind of trudged along for a while with the same velocity, and like every time I had seen him, he was in that 82 to 84 type range, and then pitched against a really good offensive team from Indiana at the future games. And it was kind of funny because he's getting a lot of swing and miss with an 84 to 87 mile-an-hour fastball. I sent our intern upstairs to see what the spin rates were because I kind of suspected they were up there. And he was above 2,500 on the spin rate on the fastball. He averaged actually the highest spin rate of the future games of anybody that was at Lake Point. But aside from that, the kid can really pitch. Spins a really good curveball, throws it for any for strikes on any count, and just really kept those hitters off balance. He ended up with 4 strikeouts and 2 hitless innings, and committed to Tennessee shortly after the event.
Yeah, really good athlete, projectable frame, and you touched on it, that high spin metrics. It just kind of shows of what could be, and you saw him at 82, 84, and it made that jump, and I think it's only going to go higher. I'd expect him to be kind of in the mid-90s in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And in the 2023 class, you got Evan Hart, who was at the Future Games, committed to Kentucky afterwards. Sounds like there's some pretty big upside in that 6'3" left-hander.
Yeah, for sure. I think when all's said and done, he's probably the best arm that comes out of that class, and it's a pretty good class. Obviously, some young guys that still have some room to grow, but you just look at the frame. It's 6'3", and honestly, that's what we have him listed at. I'm 6'2", and he was standing next to me at the Future Games. I felt like he was towering over me. So I think maybe he's 6'4", maybe 6'5", to be honest, but the arm really works. He was one of the few 2023s we had on Team Kentucky at the Future Games. Didn't know how he was going to handle that national stage, but then he came out against Team Select and struck out 3 in his first inning. The upside is off the charts. I think he's going to throw really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this arm really works, Rody. It's clean, it's quick, it's whippy, jumps out of the hand. He's athletic on the mound. He competes. There's lots of SEC, Big Blue Nation. There's a lot to be excited about.
Nice. Sounds like you got a good up-close look, too, with his outing against Team Select there. But looking at a 2024 class, Brady Davis, it sounds like a big-time freshman, Chris, and we've talked a lot about Louisville and the work that they do in the Midwest. Should be no surprise that he is committed to the Cardinals already.
Yeah, following his brother Jackson there, both Louisville commits. We had the kid on our 13U Junior Future Games team in 2019. He was up to 84, 85 then. Back then we were throwing from 54 feet. They moved it to 60, 90 last year, but 84 from 54 feet was getting on hitters quick. He's made that next jump. Athletic kid like his brother. We had him up to 87 in the fall. I've heard some reports where he's been up to 90. The thing about him, too, is he can really swing the bat as well. A lot of power from the right side. And like with, most young kids that commit, whether he ends up on the mound or position player is probably still yet to be determined. But I think ultimately that arm is too good, and that's where he ends up on the mound.
Mm-hmm. Athletes, quick arms, competitors, that's what Louisville brings in. It's no surprise to see he's committed there right now, and there's a ton of upside, and those guys seem to always produce.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, great stuff there, Chris. That's a good look at some prospects out of the state of Kentucky. We look forward to seeing more from you. But as always, for Shooter Hunt, Chris Fuller, I'm Nathan Rohde. This was State to the Nation. And until next time, we'll see you guys at the ballpark.